Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome tonight. Asim, thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are great. So I came across this video where I saw a white man went on somebody's door to knock and at the same time say some disgusting things and ended up spitting in on their camera, right? And I am going to ask, why is it that white people are still so much interested in what Black people can do for them, but not what they can actually help Black people do? They are only interested in Black labor, but they do not want to even understand how Black people get into that label, right? How do you tell me that the only thing you want from me is just for me to assist you? Or I already found out that the only thing you want from me is just only assistance. And after that assistance, you run away and then you come back, maybe in some time again, then to ask for another help. You are nothing but a vulture. You are nothing but a leech, right? What you are is you come to suck and run away. You are not being helpful to me, but you want me to be very helpful to you. No, that is not just only being helpful to you. You do not respect me. You do not acknowledge me. But the only thing you want from me is just help, 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 help. How is that even going to work? Absolutely. That is not going to work. Now that everybody already know where they stand, at least Black people know where Black people stand and where other people stand. The only time you recognize Black people's value is only when you need them. You know what? Let's get into this video.
I'm not even gonna really say a lot in this video, but I'm just gonna say this. I've tried to have conversations on here about how a lot of you choose to speak to Black people about a lot of different topics, and that has not been heard. You know, it's fascinating to me how so many of you recognize the value of Black labor, you recognize the value of Black political organizing, you recognize the way that we have historically and consistently done it. Then you are shocked when people pull back after you spend all of your time basically saying that the only value Black people have to you personally is numbers and labor. And it's this weird thing that you guys do where you say you respect the work that Black people do, but that's really as far as it goes. That's really as far as it goes. You respect the work that they do, but you don't really respect them. You don't really respect them. And that is the thing. You don't really respect their humanity, right? And that's the thing that I always hear in all these conversations. I mean, there's this video going around of, this woman who took a bunch of people to Palestine, and some of those people were Black, and those Black people had the audacity to complain that they were experiencing racism. And I'm not shocked about that being a thing that people talk about, because I know that from my experience in white conservative communities, in my experience now in mixed LA communities that are more liberal than not, that people just always expect for Black people to be in labor, and they never expect for them to call out racism. They never want them to do it, ever, regardless of what end it is, right? Regardless of what context we're in. But they always expect for Black people to labor. They always expect for Black people to labor. And I'm so over it. I'm real fucking over it. I'm real fucking over it. I think that for a season, maybe someone else should do it. Maybe someone else should do it. Because I think what people aren't piecing together is, yeah, some of you did go out there and you joined the trend of Black Lives Matter because you, are just now caring about it because you felt pressured to care about it. But Black people have lived with this forever. We've lived with it forever, right? We don't really get to opt into caring about these struggles and opting out of caring about these struggles. Some of you think that because you jumped on a trend, because you jumped on the Black Lives Matter trend, that you did a bunch of work for Black people. When in all reality, the way that you express yourself still demonstrates that you haven't really done that work, that you don't quite understand that the reason why unarmed Black men get killed is because they expect them to be slaves. You don't recognize that you have the same expectations, right? You don't realize that you have the same expectations. And it's a little bit much at this current position that we're in our society. So for me personally, I am going to be explicitly focusing on the things that I can personally impact around me. I care about a large gamut of things, but for right now, I really do need to think about keeping myself safe, keeping the people that I love safe, keeping the community that I organize safe, like the things that I can directly affect in front of me. And I think it's great that a lot of people care about other things. I'm not saying that I don't care about other things, but what I'm trying to say is that a lot of you get upset at Black people for caring about themselves and not experiencing racism. And as someone who has spent, I would say, the vast majority of her life trying to fight for why it's okay for me to talk about racism, why it's okay for me to call out racism, I'm just tired of fighting with people who tell me that they are on my side and ignoring the fact that I don't feel like you are. And I know that that's not me being sensitive. I know that's not me just not being able to put my shit aside, or, me being so involved in my own shit. No, I care about everyone's shit. I care about everyone's shit, but you don't really care at all about our shit. And when you do, you bank it so you can use it later in an argument for why we should be submissive to you. I'm over it.
And to them white people in my comments, Thompson, we supposed to be fighting for peace because you seen so-called Black people run them racist ass motherfuckers back to the dairy aisle where they belong. Bitch, check the discography. Check Black folks' discography, bitch. Check the 400 plus years of data. Check the spreadsheets. Okay. Tutorials. All types of shit. All types of visuals. Everything you can look at. Because, baby, we've always been a pillar of peace. Always. We try to integrate with humanity because we thought it would be best for the collective. The motherfucking mankind and all its variations want to integrate with us to steal our goddamn wealth. To stand on our backs so they can look tall. To steal our inventions. Then write us out of history as if we never existed. As if we never contributed a damn thing. What are you talking about? So if you want peace and you want movements of peace, don't expect so-called Black people to be the forefront of that movement. We've long overdue our part. Long overdue. So you in the click Congress, get your ass in the field and lead by example. I bet you ain't heard that since elementary school. Lead by motherfucking example. Since you want all this peace and that's what we supposed to be fighting for, where you started. And we'll see from now. But right now, I'm like a soldier without orders. Bitch, I'm sheltering in place. I don't got nothing. Not a damn thing. Because, truthfully, I've always been for the collective of humanity. But if humanity is for the execution of people that look like me, then, bitch, humanity can go to hell.
Right now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Hey, guess what I gotta say to you? Fuck you, fuck all your people, and fuck what you guys stand for, alright? The day of the fucking Lord is here. You heard me.
So I'm going to talk about this because this is something that I've been feeling, and I'm actually really curious how other people of color have been feeling about this. So ever since Donald Trump got elected, I've gone through a series of emotions. At first, I was really sad. And when I say I was really sad, I mean like I cried really hard the first night. Then this wash came over me of like satisfaction. Because Donald Trump has, in so many ways, broken the illusion that many of us were under. If you're a person of color, you have often been gaslit into this idea that the white people of today are not the white people of yesteryear. I mean, they spend so much time talking about this. They spend so much time talking about how they're not responsible for slavery. They're not responsible for all of the anti-blackness, all of the history of oppression. They just simply benefit from it today. And that's just sad and unfortunate, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. And it's not reasonable to hold them responsible. And it's not that I didn't know that white people knew that they were white, but you can really easily buy into the narrative that there is an incredible gap between the overtly racist white people of yesteryear and the white people of today, who in your own mind, you could maybe argue, because of the distance between these histories, just don't even notice when they do racism, right? But stuff like this has revealed to me, or rather confirmed to me, what I've always pretty much known, which is that they know that they're being racist, and they rely on it. I mean, the thing that's been happening to me, especially these past couple of weeks, is I'm realizing that so many white people have an inferiority complex. And it's funny because if you were to ask these white people, especially in the context of us talking about, racism, we have the inferiority complex. People of color have the inferiority complex, right? But just think about this video I just showed you, right? This guy felt compelled to knock on someone's door and say some crazy racist shit to them and then spit on their camera. And I know that a big reason why that is because the Filipino gentleman who lives in this unit has a nice place, right? And what we're seeing are a lot of white people being upset that all of the structures that were in place to keep people of color down didn't work, right? That, there were actually people of color who have proven themselves to be more intelligent and more capable than white people. And what we're really seeing is that a lot of white people have been raised with, maybe not deliberately, but this delusion of white superiority. And they've really relied on that. They've really, really relied on the idea that their whiteness makes them inherently better. And it's a crutch that many of them have leaned on for a very, very long time. And what they're struggling with is the fact that they've been now in several circumstances where they cannot help but ignore that a person of color is superior to them in one way or another. When Obama got elected, right, there were a lot of white men who quite literally could not handle it. Why? Because all their lives they were taught that being white meant that they were better. And what that was supposed to do is create a situation where if you ever saw a person of color above you, that was a sign that that person of color was given an unfair advantage, right? And naturally, they should be beneath you. And why would you create that idea, right? Why would you really create this idea that white people are the best, they deserve everything, they should have dominion over everything, and if any other reality materializes, that is the sign of, some sort of grand flaw. You only create that idea to make excuses for yourself. And what's been really interesting is, a lot of white people in this country, I'm thinking back to when people were posting about how expensive their groceries were, and they were posting like ready-made meals and like, pre-packaged, pre-cut cheese and things like that, right? A lot of white people, I don't think have really calculated that white supremacy has made them soft, and that kind of translates into a lot of other areas. Ironically, a lot of the obstacles that were placed in front of people of color have made them stronger and more productive, right? You try to tell people that they will never amount to anything, they will never be better than a white man, right? And naturally, what ends up happening is we work incredibly hard. We go to school, we get our educations. We don't have our whiteness to fall back on, right? We don't have our race to fall back on. Now, of course, white people will always sort of make this argument that people of color fall back on their race, right? And they really only make this argument because they have this awareness of the fact that they do. I've never fallen back on my race or pulled the race card, right? But people often accuse me of doing so. And I know they only really accuse me of doing so because if I were to celebrate being black or draw attention to me being black, right? Or even describe me being black as a positive or beautiful thing, that kind of breaks away from the narrative of white supremacy a little bit. And some people don't like to hear that, and they don't like to hear about the system that they've created that, makes them feel superior even though they're not, right? And so they have to try to convince people of color, especially, that they have, this deep sort of inferiority. But the reality is they do. The reality is, and we're watching it happen right now, the reality is white supremacy is a death cult. White supremacy, in so many ways, has held us back, right? Do you understand that things like education, healthcare, a lot of our necessities, the things that we just need in order to be a productive society, those things only started becoming inaccessible when white people wanted to create hurdles for black people to have access to them. Because white people wanted to make it impossible for a black person to be educated and to somehow maintain a position above them, they wanted to make education expensive. So they decided to start charging for it, right? They decided to start putting people into debt if they want to pursue an education, which of course made an education undesirable to people who aren't rich, right? And who's rich in this country? Yeah, they'll let a few people of color be rich in this country, but the money in this country is still predominantly in the hands of white folks. Or I guess more accurately, they hoard wealth more than most people. Because don't get it fucked up, our dollar certainly does show. I mean, Target is figuring that out right now. But whether white people are perceptive of this or not, there are indeed black people who have had higher educations than them, who indeed do know more than them, who indeed are able to accomplish more than them. But for a lot of white people, they refuse to even entertain this reality. And that always ends up hurting them in the end. I don't know if you guys heard the story about, the guy who didn't want a black surgeon to operate on him, and he went somewhere where there was only a black surgeon, right? It's just this mentality that ultimately isn't helpful to, I think, our population in general, but especially not to white people. But they're going to cling on to it forever. And so I say all this to say that I think at some point, white supremacy used to kind of scare me. It used to really scare me. But now I sort of see it as this pathetic thing. I mean, it's always been pathetic. But now it seems pathetic in a very different way, in a sad kind of way. For a lot of white people, it really is all they have. All they have is the idea of their latent supremacy because of their race. And it's kind of funny to recognize just how many white people feel that way.
This is all I got from this video, and I am going to say this. Black people should never ever think that there are some people that are on their side, because they are never ever on Black people's side. Last election will absolutely make you understand that they were never on your side. They only say it for saying sake. Because if you all remember, before the election, majority of them were telling you, Black people, how much they love them, how much they want to stand with them, how much they are in support, how much they are rooting for Black people, how much they want the very best for Black people, telling Black people that they are standing with them. Then after the blah, 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 what happened in the end? Nothing happened. Some of them, not even some of them, majority of them are only worried because they are no longer getting what they used to get from Black people. That is, Black people always coming out to speak up for everybody. They are no longer getting Black people's vibe because Black people at this point in time, like, cut everybody off. If you know what I mean, they absolutely cut everybody off. They are no longer allowing their energy to be unleashed, that their enemy, like, they spend their energy where it is, like, supposed to be spent, and all that. Because it were before, like, all vibes and all that, but no. Now you can see that the difference is very clear. They do not want you. They do not want to have anything good to do for you. They don't, like, they do not have any good plans for Black people, right? But somehow they will always manage to tell themselves and voice it out that, oh my God, like, I am for you, I am rooting for you. You are like, you people like, but behind your back, what are they doing? Behind your back, what are they doing? How are they supporting? You see, all these things are the things that these are the things that matter. Now, somebody walked up to a person's camera to say that disgusting thing, and at the same time spat. And you are telling me these people are the people that know God. You are telling me that these people are the chosen one. You are telling me that these people are the ones that say that they care. Like, how do I see people like this? Sincerely speaking, I don't know if it is mental health, because I understand that there are so many, people that are mentally unstable, but I don't know what this is, because if this is not mental health problem, there is not, because don't tell me someone that is normal, like the way I am, the way you are, you wake up to maybe a Latino man's house or maybe an Asian person's house to ask them, what are they doing in this country? What are they supposed to be? You understand what I am saying? That is to tell you that some people are not normal, because this is not normal. That you walk up and you walk straight to somebody's camera to do that disgusting thing. Man, I am really, really scared for some people's life. Like, especially my people, because they are my number one priority. Because tell me how somebody did that. And are these not the kind of people that should be taken to El Salvador? That kind of man. Should he be roaming among us? He might actually be one of the protesters that was released, that is roaming around. Man, you all are strong. Bye for now.